continue to give good water.
High quality H2O.
Thank you.
Love it.
All right, number 9. Discussion on designating 2 to 3 parking spots on Canada Street to meet the 30-minute parking.
So
we-
this is my,
Yeah,
you want me to?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is my baby, right? So, I was, approached by a business owner, Miss Darcy, to have some 30-minute parking, slots in front of B's on Broadway. Currently, as many know, there are signs for 30-minute parking, about 5 slots, I believe, 4 to 5 slots, I believe, in front of the parts store, which are not legally marked and are not in our parking ordinances. So I'm bringing this forward tonight so that we can decide if we want to make the ones that are in existence legal in our ordinance, or if we want to shift some of the 30-minute parking spots, so maybe there's only 3 instead of 5. So that's what I'm bringing to the table.
I mean, three new,
3
three
30.
exist, and
So-
five exist now, you wanna go
So-
down to 3?
Currently, there are 5
Okay.
that are not legally enforceable because they are not in our part. We have no 30-minute parking in our ordinance at all. So what I'm suggesting is we either make the existing parking legal by changing our ordinance to reflect that, or we limit however many we, as the 3 of us, think there needs to be there, and then move ahead with that. And also, the signs that, as they exist now, are 30-minute parking, period. I would prefer a more of a 30-minute parking between the hours of 9 and 5, and to exclude holidays. But that's just my preference.
What time does the parts store open?
I'm uncertain.
7:30.
Eight,
I wanna adjust that.
My suggestion would be, if we've got 5 at 30 that we can eventually, adhere to, just add another 3 and.
I don't need 8. If you wanna keep the 5 that Jeff has currently, what I would like to do to that 5 is make them legitimate by putting them in the ordinance.
Yeah, that's-
And then I would like to have a time frame attached to it, you know, whatever, 8 to 5, 7:30 to 5, something like that. I mean, I'm just spitballing times,
Regular
but
business.
not to have it be all day,
Right.
right, and just be period, so that when B's is closed, when the parts store is closed, the restaurant can use those, or the bakery can use those slots for their business,
or anything.
or anybody, or the bank,
Yeah.
whoever. But did you wanna speak on that?
Yeah, I just wanna really start by saying that I hope the business next door that comes in is wildly successful, and this is an issue. I just wanna make sure the parts store and I have spots, because our customers tend to come and go 15 minutes usually. And if the restaurant is there and they're super busy and there's a 2-hour wait and all those spots are taken up, then we can't have any of our customers coming and going. So if you even have 3 spots, just designated 30-minute parking between whatever hours you choose, then it just helps all of us to kind of have a little fair equity in the spots.
So if we just made the 5 that are currently there, I'm
Sounds
good with that.
reasonable.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Me too. So far?
Is 5 too many for people to run businesses, restaurants and bakeries and stuff like that, or is 3? We're thinking about everything, I'm just brainstorming.
I agree, and that's why I was thinking 3 would be more than enough.
Realistic.
3, and if they're like, maybe they're the 3 that are between the parts store and B's, that might be more equitable between B's and the parts store, and then maybe, the parts store loses two towards the bank, but it's still something.
Can they park on the side?
Like,
of
can
the
you
building?
imagine it as I'm explaining it?
No.
Yeah, cause it still lets both businesses coincide together. It's gonna be tough to find somebody who's coming for lunch that's there for half hour, right? You know, it's
Right.
gonna be tough for them over there in the corner, but, I mean, is 3 realistic, or
I
what do you
think
think?
3 is fair.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
most of the people, my biggest thought was most of my regulars are older women. And they're not gonna wanna park in the square and walk down. They'll
Right.
probably just skip it for the day, and I'd rather not see that happen. So if we have a couple close spots, but I think 3 is fair. I don't think it's gonna be a huge issue all the time. I think, Friday afternoons when they're getting ready to have their dinner crowd, it'll probably be a bigger deal then, but I don't think it's gonna be a huge deal. At least not yet. We'll see.
Now, I know, I believe St. Albans, has it where it's like, what is it, was Monday through?
In front of our store, it's 2 hours in St. Albans,
Monday through Saturday?
Monday through Saturday. In my opinion, I would just watch what you limit right away until you know what's coming. We're trying to get people downtown, not limit the time they can spend downtown. So I think,
30 minutes.
2, 3 spots, whatever, you
Can't
wanna
do more than
take,
30 minutes.
you wanna take care of Darcy, you wanna take care of
Right.
the people in and out, but you also wanna take care of the businesses where someone wants to stay a while. Hopefully the bakery and the restaurant, I would say, and Darcy's people certainly utilize our parking lot. I hope that's what they do, but they'll ultimately wanna park in front of the stores. That will be the first place they try to go. If you go to Jeff's Seafood for dinner tonight, you don't park right in front of Jeff's Seafood. You might park
Doing anywhere in St. Albans.
3
yeah.
blocks
People
away.
park by the
People
bank
may,
or-
people may park by the bank, people may park in front of M&T Bank. Or they might park across the Brett's, like, I don't know where they're gonna park, but.
Darcy, how many spots between your door and the exit at the end of the parts store? How many spots?
7.
I think so, 6 or
6
7.
or 7, I'd say,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't count.
I didn't either, that's why I asked.
Could it be something that we just kind of keep an eye on as a concern through the fall as they open? I'm not looking to do anything permanent right off. I think it's something that could be just watched.
Okay.
Do you mean without a sign or with a sign and then monitor?
Well, Jeff still already has his signs that he said he put up when it was a fitness place where I am.
Do they work?
I don't know, every time I look out, there's a car.
Like, who,
put up.
if you made this into an ordinance and put 30-minute parking, now you're asking a police officer now to patrol the
Question, yeah.
parking
That,
lot?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and
About
that,
enforcement of
so,
that.
and
Like,
that's,
here,
yeah,
how
that
does
was
it-
the
how does
other
it get
thing.
Steve Racing gonna have to come out and bring some corn out, run the tires, so we're gonna,
Yeah,
somebody's now gonna enforce that.
very hard to strictly enforce.
Yes,
But like we talked about the other day in front of your store, there was that one spot, and of course we'd have to have your permission and the building owner's permission, Gordon, to put it right on the wall. So if we're looking right in front of her store before you get to the glass windows of the restaurant, there's one ideal spot to put
Yeah.
30-minute parking right there affixed to the building.
And there's signs up there now somewhere? I never
Well,
even
no,
knew that.
Jeff has signs.
Jeff
Yes.
Jeff
has
has a sign
signs.
that says 30-minute parking. I don't know if people
It's not,
follow.
it's, yeah, it's not legitimate, and
Like, he
that's
bought, he bought it at our store probably, put 30-minute parking.
problematic.
And he just showed on the map, there's 9 spots for that section.
9.
From
Whole
the,
section.
from the corner to
From
the
the
end.
corner to the corner.
Right, so I think it was like 4 and 5 is what yeah. So he's got 5 already that are marked off, that only leaves like 4 for the bakery and the restaurant, so that's
No
I
handicap
think-
parking on the side?
I'm listening.
problematic, like. I think what I would like to see is maybe we table this, see how it goes through the fall, and then we revisit it, but in the meantime, we have Jeff take down his signs, because those aren't legal and those aren't enforceable. Mr. Village Manager, is that?
He has every right to keep those signs up if he wishes. I don't
One
know,
is on our-
we could ask. We wouldn't enforce them.
Right,
They're not enforceable, but if he's using it simply as a deterrent, I think we
I
could ask
believe
and have a
one is
conversation.
on our
It could be,
sign,
yeah,
so
right. That one's
I'm just
different.
throwing
So
that out there.
So if that's the case, then why can't that just be, then if you're not gonna enforce it, probably anyway, if you put up a ordinance or a sign, is it gonna be, are the police gonna be able to enforce that? Are they
Yeah,
writing tickets
there's
to
gonna
someone?
there's gonna be cases where it's obvious. So if Darcy's the owner, she sees somebody pull up there and they're clearly there for 2 hours. All right, it's a license plate, we follow up, we go have the dialogue, and it's an ordinance violation, pretty clear cut. There's gonna be other circumstances where if it's 33 minutes, you know, we're not gonna put a time, date stamp on that car and enforce that.
You just don't wanna be writing a lot of tickets to local
Exactly.
people that are customers of all our stores.
Yes,
It would be a little adverse to
Yeah.
business, I would think.
it is striking the balance for sure. We do not want to dissuade people from visiting downtown at the same time. We don't wanna have you look out front and have nobody have access to your store.
Yeah. I mean, for the restaurant person, he wants to have takeout. I mean, the only thing I could see that would really be helpful for him would be like the 1 or 2 15-minute takeout spots, so people can drive right up to the front and drive right out, but that could be anywhere on the, somewhere, right? Just so that business part of it,
Yeah,
doesn't mean they have to park
in front of,
far away to run in and run out. But he should have the lion's share of the parking in the evening. Shouldn't be an issue, right?
yeah, if someone parks and to go get takeout at Nemo's, they don't, they park somewhere.
Park down at the bay for it.
Yeah.
No parking.
But I would say whatever makes Darcy
I mean,
happy.
do you think realistically now, Darcy, it's something we wanna watch, like we put it on the radar?
Yeah,
And go,
yeah.
You know, if this is a problem down the road, maybe we table it and look at it, that way you have a chance to talk to law enforcement about the options and
Yeah,
and
that's.
see, like,
So is that good?
put a light on it now, but maybe just
Yeah.
nothing for now, but let's watch it.
This was just because I mentioned it to Susie that
Yeah.
I wonder what this is gonna be like when the restaurant comes in.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to table this until September meeting. Give me a day, Diane.
9,
September-ish,
First
first meeting in
meeting.
September.
First meeting is
Number
number
nine.
First meeting in September, we'll revisit after we've seen what the traffic's gonna look like and the parking looks like in that
I would
area.
suggest waiting until like the first of the year if you're gonna wait that
You
long,
want
because
us-
you have the bridge closure, we have, you know, downtown things going on. I don't think it'll be an accurate idea of
Table it
what it's gonna look
to,
like.
amend my motion to table to January.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay.
All right. So we've got a second motion to table till September,
January.
January. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 10, approve memorandum of understanding with the State of Vermont Department of Health allowing Swanton Municipal Complex to utilize as a public point of distribution, or POD, site if needed.
I got this one, it's easy. It's an action item. I'm looking for a motion to authorize the village manager to sign a memorandum of understanding with the State of Vermont Department of Health allowing the Swanton Municipal Complex to be utilized as a public point of distribution. It's related to Department of Health, strategic national stockpile. It would be utilized, it would not be in our way, because if they utilize this, it means the rest of the community is in a world of hurt.
Is this
So
some of
we're
that NIM
utilizing
stuff?
this to, what's that?
Is that some of this NIM stuff?
It's tied in with that. Yeah, that training is paying off. That's good. So it seems like a no-brainer. We've used it for this in the past. There's been a several-year hiatus, according to the Department of Health. They've reached out requesting that we re-engage in that MOU effective immediately, just looking for authorization.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Number 11, discussion of creating graffiti response team.
I can take the lead on that. So as you might be aware, we've been hit with graffiti a couple times recently, two different potential accused, and the most recent one, we made an arrest of a local individual. That information is on our Facebook page, the police Facebook page, completely separate and apart from that first one. That is really closely tied in with an incident that occurred in Burlington where they're on pretty good surveillance cameras, fully masked up. Same exact, right down to the beginning and the end of the graffiti, and the tagging is identical. So what we want to do, and we've talked about this in the past, is every community that wants to just kind of eliminate that, one of the first things and the easiest things you can do is have a structure in place that allows people to go out, and once it's documented and photographed by the police, they can then do their investigation, and you want to cover it up within 24 to 72 hours. So we simply want to create something with a trustee who I think is going to volunteer, Trustee Kelleher,
Yes, I will volunteer to lead.
that can literally set up a group of folks, because the fire department's not always going to be available. They went above and beyond last time, as well as several volunteers that are here in this room. But you want a list 50 people deep with folks that will help out. You'll get, you don't have to create a 501c3, but you at least need to be able to respond and paint this and clean up as quickly as possible. So we're just trying to formalize something without getting overly fancy, but recognize it and then demonstrate to the community that we mean business.
You need a motion?
I don't know that we do. I don't think it's an action item other than we must put it into action.
Action, right. So I'll be looking for volunteers for the graffiti response team. I have a couple already, and I just need to get some more.
How do you want people to sign up for that?
They can email me at my swanton.net, or I have a Facebook page, Trustee Susie Kelleher. They can message me there or text me, either way. Yeah, all those information's out there.
Another quick question.
Yes.
If the painting has to be done within 24 to 72 hours?
As quickly as possible,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Who buys the paint? Where does the paint come from?
Generous donations, making eye contact. Eye contact. Or, we'll pay for it. I mean, right, it's a village responsibility. If it's in the village, same thing. If it's in the town, we'll collaborate with town officials. I think this needs to be Swanton-wide, right? Wherever it is, being mindful of the fact that we'll even help out private property owners, but we must have their permission before we go ahead and do anything on their property.
I was just thinking of colors and it's not like you're getting white. You might need a brick red or something.
Right.
The VFW is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've unfortunately set the standard now, because in less than 12 hours, a special
That was
paint,
amazing.
that was done by the fire department, just
Yes.
hats off for how quick
Yeah.
they responded,
They did.
and, yes, thanks also for providing the paint, but on behalf of the VFW, that was great, and I think in the future, trying to beat the 12 hours or so is gonna be hard.
I think we can do it. I think with a structure in place, I think we can do it.
Yeah, good job, good job.
So I don't think donating the material would be a problem if people are jumping on it to use it like they did the last time, because it just shows the community that we're going to
Right.
paint over it as quickly as possible, and their work goes for naught, so.
Right.
And it's a deterrent for those who might think about it.
Right,
it's all covered up and gone. It's gonna be covered up quick, so, you're not gonna get your 10 minutes of fame on Facebook or Instagram or whatever instant other thing you have
Well, you
out
kind
there.
of hope they identify the individual, so that would be.
Well, I mean, it's sad, that the people who are doing this cover themselves up. I mean, apparently they don't take pride in what they do. So, sorry. I'm gonna sit down and be quiet now.
So, did you say we haven't found or we know that the people who tagged in Burlington tagged up here, but we haven't been able to make
There
the
are-
arrest yet?
For the camera, we're actively investigating. There are no leads at this point. we have nothing other than those videos, and those videos truly are, they're fully messed up.
Any other discussion on the graffiti community? Let's get rid of the graffiti effort. So we've been doing this privately for about 5 or 6 years or more now. And so with a lot of people, especially when it was some of the hate crime stuff, we really tried to reach out to people that were upset about it and tried to voice that it's best to let us know, but not to give them their 15 minutes of fame on the community Facebook page and stuff like that. That it's best if we just, as quickly as possible, and not give them the attention that they want, so to speak. And it has seemed to work off and on over the years, especially at the Mill Park. Okay, number 12. Discussion and update on 6 South River Street, formerly known as the Hotel Riviera property.
Take one of those, pass those down. So this is really an update as to the status as to where we are with the project, which is still in kind of a hold mode. We're waiting on a final analysis of the soil samples, version 2 or 3.
Can I be Neil?
Go ahead.
Why are we still waiting?
Because we're good stewards of the environment, we care about our community, and we're doing all the right things to be permitted properly to in turn sell the property. I believe that one. Yeah. It has been frustrating. What we're trying to do is get a final green light as to how to proceed, which is a certificate of completion by the state of Vermont, and hopefully in this calendar year, and I used to firmly believe that, now I'm not so sure, we're gonna do a request for proposal from various people that want to tell us what we should do with the property. The trustees will then decide, and we will sell said land. As an update, we currently have total expenditures into the property, all things, which means property, grounds, fields, legal, of $213,000. $30,000 of that is grant funding. So as of right now, our net cost is $182,956. So the message is we're not likely to recoup that amount. It is highly unlikely, but it's expensive to remove blight from the community. And I don't believe it was before my time, but I firmly believe this, that there wasn't somebody out there in the private sector that would have wanted to undertake the demolition and removal of that building. Because that's the bulk of the cost. Literally, the demolition was $134,000. The environmental stuff to be carted away, especially because it was contaminated, was $21,900. So we will. This is all public information. We'll post this, so there's details. But the plan is to move ahead and identify a contractor or a builder developer that wants to put some type of suitable housing for the community on that site.
And then, go ahead.
Yeah, so go ahead, I'll come at the end.
There's no way we can skirt this. I'm looking for a shortcut, because, I mean, the state's dragged us on 3 years now, and frankly, I'm a little frustrated by it.
Well, look how long Fonda Container got dragged. That
Fonda
was
Container isn't
like
South River
years.
Street. Yeah, but Fonda Container is what, 7 acres? Or less than half an acre, or about a half acre.
0.60.
Is it
I mean, it's bull.
Is
you
it
know?
test well monitoring, I take it, through the seasons that they're kind of going through right now?
Their final borings are done.
Their final borings are done?
We're waiting on the assessment.
Okay.
Can we push?
Oh, we're pushing behind the scenes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're probably a pest for sure.
Good. If they like another pest, I give them my number. Again, the fact that the state has dragged this out on us for 3 years, it's very discouraging. Doesn't look good on the state.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so to kind of clear up the how and why we got the RIF, because there's always rumors, most of them started by your village president, your current village president, that have gone on for the last couple of years. The reason the RIF ended up in the village's hands, because I had it bought, I had a purchase and sales agreement on, I was buying the property. I had a verbal agreement on it on a Wednesday. We were supposed to show up on Saturday to sign the paperwork. And Saturday came and went, and then the owner at the time, Mike, he didn't show up. I got hold of him about Tuesday or Wednesday, and I said, Mike, what happened? We were here to sign the paperwork. We were gonna close in a couple weeks. We had a plan to do this, and this thing had been on the ground and done and over. Well, I got a better offer. I said, well, how'd you do that? And he went into the village office, or town offices, I should say, at the time, and then was looking at trying to get taxes abated, because there was a lot there. And so he was working with some of the folks in town that were Elizabeth and others that were trying to help, and so they said, well, hold on, what do you mean, you're selling? Yeah, I've got a buyer. And so at that point, Champlain Housing got involved in it. Champlain Housing said, oh, I want to take it. So when I actually got a hold of Mike, I said, Mike, what happened? He goes, well, I got a better offer. I said, you got a better offer in the 3 days period from the time this building's been sitting vacant for a decade? And he goes, yeah, I did. The town got me a better offer. I said, okay. So stepping forward, at that point, that is when all these tests were done at that point, because they were looking for public money. Franklin County, whatever they're called there, the
FCID.
they got involved. They started doing tests. We had started looking at things. What's there? What's going on? At that point, Champlain Housing walked away. So it was now left to a private owner at that point. So he still was left with his property. He had no buyer anymore. However, all these tests had now been done to his property. But there's no funding for individuals, for private individuals. The town of Swanton and those trying to do the right thing, I truly believe they're trying to do the right thing, created a problem for a private owner. Okay, that wasn't there before. But once all these tests were done, now there's a limelight on it. There's no money for him at that point. Fast forward a year, the guy's still sitting on it, taxes are still stacking up. Ryan Jordan also expressed a lot of interest in it, and he went next, and I was trying to help him. Yes, Ryan, if you want to buy it, go ahead, let's do it. I'll give you all the help you can. I appreciated him actually coming forward and telling me what he was willing to do, and I was there to support him in the process. But I said, Ryan, make sure that this money you're being told is going to be earmarked is actually earmarked before you sign on that dotted line. And so long process with him, several months, trying to earmark some money. Yep, oh, we're gonna get you money, we're gonna get you money. I said, Ryan, do not sign that paper until you have it earmarked. Well, long story short, they couldn't get any money again because it's a private individual, right? The village created the problem. Well, they didn't create the problem, they highlighted the problem, but then left a private citizen holding all the cards at that point. We were, to a point, forced into buying that. The village did the right thing, buying that property. They actually bailed out a private owner for something that we created. I say we as a town created that. So that's why the RIV was bought. And that's the whole history of it. So just so that everybody's aware of that, that is why we have the RIV. So when we want to say it was the wrong move, why was this done, who was wasting our money, so on and so forth, no, they did the right thing at the time. So the trustees knew what went on. There was a lot of people who knew the history at the time. That's why we own the RIV. And we're doing the best we can to use public money to now clean that up and get something good and viable on there.
That's good information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
thank you.
That's the history
yeah,
of it.
I remember you sharing a little bit of that, but that's a better explanation. And there's a piece of property coming available. You're so interested.
182, let's do it right now.
I had a bought for 25.
I had to try.
There was some hidden cost there.
So what did the village think of it? Are we in that same, are we within budget? There was always gonna be a big cost to demo and clean the land, and
I think
you cleaned it.
this,
There's obviously value to cleaning that.
yeah, I wasn't here yet, so I'll have to defer to the trustees, but I think the demolition cost and the asbestos removal were a little bit higher than we had anticipated, for sure.
And I won't speak for Gene, but I think we had hoped to at least break even.
Yeah. and we're not even gonna come close. Very disappointing to me,
Yeah,
because when the state got involved,
yep.
it's like we have no bottom to the pit of our money.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. Thank God for ARPA funds, by the way.
So any more questions or discussions on the Hotel Riviera, where we stand? And we got a full accounting now for the public about what we've got into it. And probably just a little bit more by the time we get out of it.
I think so.
But folks were wondering, it's great information. Anybody else, discussion wise? Sean, thank you for that piece of history. All right, moving on, number 14.
13.
Oh, 13? Oops, all right, cross that off. Review and approve a traveling vendor ordinance and permit.
Same thing, they were in your packets, but here's, in case you didn't print it out. What we're trying to do is create an equitable manner to bring in traveling vendors into the Village Green or other parks. So if you're a bricks and mortar, for example, and you own a pizza shop, 1 of 3 in the village, you pay taxes, you have a set thing. And right now, if somebody comes in and sets up a food truck on a Saturday, there's no permitting process either through the town or the village, and they can come in and theoretically sell their wares for nothing. So we're trying to copy neighboring communities with this policy to come up with something for a daily or a semi-annual fee for traveling vendors, whomever they are. In the event that it is a sponsored event, so Nicole, glad you're here. The 3 dates that you gave, we don't need a permit for that. That's separate. That's designed to bring people into the community that are gonna spread out and bring business to our businesses. This is to create that equity so that somebody sees that vendor there, they understand that they have a permit, that we have the health records on file, we have all the forms, and it's negligible amount of money. So would you like me to run through that for the crowd, what we're looking to do?
Yeah.
It's, so the process will be literally, we're trying to be big on 1-pagers. So to be clear, there is no town, and I believe no interest in the town managing this in any way from that point of view, from like a zoning. This is gonna happen probably only a handful of times a year. So we're looking at, it's a 1-pager, you have to have your health certificate, licenses, proof of insurance attached, some details about what you're selling, village manager approval, village clerk approval, proof of payment. So it is, if you're on public property, and this is probably where we need some guidance, $75 a day or $300 seasonally. If it is private property within the village, $25 a day, $150 seasonally. And then there's an ordinance, a 3-page ordinance that accompanies this. So what we're trying to do is kind of test drive this thing and see if that amount is correct. Again, trying to create that balance and that equity. And the ordinance, there are certain penalties and provisions. If you set up, you get fined, and that will be enforced once the ordinance is in place.
So to reiterate, for events such as Nicole's or the car show, this does not pertain.
Correct.
Okay.
We have to find, this might be lacking, the ordinance might lack specific language to that. I think we need to add a paragraph in all likelihood.
So, Adam, if you remember like last year that Mr. Pickle set up
Yeah.
at the liquor store parking lot, then there was one down on Canada Street a couple different times. You would cover those
Yep.
events.
Or if somebody just on a Saturday wanted to set up a Village Green, they
Yeah.
could, as long as they had.
Yeah, we've been asked a lot lately, they've been calling, can we set
Okay.
up in the park?
Same thing with the traveling ice cream truck and stuff,
Yeah.
any of those type of things.
You mentioned private, does that include the people who do weekly yard sales?
Only if it's at the property of Ronnie Greeno.
That's a good
curious,
question,
because
that's a good question, right?
some of these people are in business and do it weekly.
Oh, yeah.
It's a zoning.
Yeah, that is not our intent to be that far reaching. This is again to, it's mainly gonna be in our parks, and especially in our parks, if they're parking behind the park using one of those, 4 electric posts, right, and they're taking electricity for the entire day. And it seems reasonable. I think you can make $75 pretty quick early on.
That seasonal price is nickels compared to what they can make in a year, and you're just allowing a service, you're actually promoting it at that point.
Yeah.
Hey, look, please come, this is your option to do it, instead of,
Right.
I think it's a great thing for.
It's exact parity with St. Albans Town and St. Albans City, by the way, for both individual daily prices and seasonal.
Okay.
Is your wording specific to food truck vendors, or is this
That's why it's called traveling.
for
vendor.
crafter vendors and?
It'd be the same thing outside of like a festival type event. It is any vendor. We'll have to make sure people understand that. So say somebody sets up a booth that sells exactly what you have. We have to strike that equity in the balance
The
with
other
you.
word was itinerant.
Yeah, most policies, it's called an itinerant vendor
Itinerant.
permit. I like traveler better.
You know,
Yeah.
but it could be.
Peddler, sure.
You make them post a permit, so someone could walk up and see that they actually are authorized to be there, instead of asking them if they.
We will make sure.
I don't know if
Yes.
that's what's written in there.
Yeah, it
but
just
that would
says
be a
that
suggestion.
I believe it
display a
is.
permit.
Yes.
A permit shall be at all times visibly posted at the location in which the business or sale of goods is being conducted and shall be carried with the traveling vendor for presentation upon request, but it has to be visibly posted, yeah.
I like the Department of Health certification, all that, right? That's a little more comforting if you're going up. If you know they've gone through this process, they've checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
I was now I'm tagging on to Darcy's question about the food trucks. The food trucks have not been charged anything when they come for an event.
Correct. To date, there was no process in place for this.
Do you see any,
Well, again,
I think you'll
when you
see
say,
it
what do you
pushback.
mean when you say event?
anytime we've had a food truck there, we've had them,
Depends on where you're talking, certain
In
events,
the
we
park.
did charge, when I hosted them at the shop, when there was absolutely nothing going on downtown, it was just to get people downtown.
right?
So no, I begged and pleaded them to come, we won't charge you, please come.
Okay.
But at the markets where there's overhead costs to have portalets and trash service,
Right.
we do ask them to pay a fee to be a vendor at the markets, because it covers those overhead costs.
Right, kinda like what we do with the car show.
No, I was just thinking, we had craft shows and we had a couple of food trucks that Darcy was able to bring in, and, you know, it was really nice to be able to be in the park, do a little shopping locally with, you know, crafters, and, you know, have a bite to eat.
But I think if it's an event, I don't think this applies.
This doesn't apply to an
This
event.
will not apply if it's
Right.
an event like what you're saying,
Okay.
you know, as long as they can provide proof of insurance.
This is like, if I had a food truck and I sold my cinnamon rolls and I wanted to go sell it on a Tuesday morning in the park, I would come here and get permission and a permit, then go to the park and set up and sell my cinnamon rolls.
Okay, I understand.
Is that
Right.
an option?
I was gonna say, that's a pretty good idea.
I give them away for free.
I'll be waiting.
But not on a food truck Saturday event.
Exactly.
And this is only to apply to any place that they're parked on public property.
Right, public and private, it says, so like.
So if I have a pop-up in my store and they're selling food. they
In
need
your
a
store?
permit.
That's your
That's-
store.
You're sponsoring the event.
You're sponsoring it, but like, if I wanted to set up my cinnamon roll at the liquor store parking lot, I would have to get this, or if I wanted to set it up in Mike's parking lot, I would have to get a permit and Mike's permission.
Like the old Harley Davidson place in Essex has that pop-up sausage place, right? It's not on Essex property, it's private property. They are required to get a seasonal permit from the town of Essex.
But if it's inside their building, it doesn't apply.
Correct, that's your business.
Okay.
All clear.
So I just have one thing, I'm listed as the village clerk.
You fixed it.
Already fixed, I caught that one for you.
Yeah.
And then, other than that, I make a motion to accept this with that one change that, Bill wanted to make.
Second.
It's fixed already.
Any further discussion?
No, sorry.
Hearing No more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Number 14, sign line of credit for Missisquoi Water Line Project.
So this is the line of credit for the river crossing, and it's right around $2.1 million. We're still awaiting approval from the SRF funding from the state of Vermont. They have not, they're way behind, they're months behind. I keep needling them and our engineers, about getting that approval. But the way that funding works is we have to pay everything up front, and then I request monthly the reimbursements back. So we need a line of credit whether the loan is able to be drawn down on or not at this point. The approval for the loan is 1.2 million. But remember, there's some loan forgiveness because the total project cost is about 2.2 million. So I had to take a line of credit for the full amount because until the project's complete, we won't be able to get our loan forgiveness done.
Right.
And that project should be happening,
June.
Still June?
Yep.
Great.
so the plan is to get this all situated so it's ready to go because the contractor is probably gonna give us a bill pretty much at the time they start for some upfront stuff they've had to purchase. And then, we also, Diane and I have signed, for the checking account at People's Trust because we will pull the money through online banking, from the loan into the checking account and pay the bills from there. So we need to have the checking account set up too, which you guys approved opening that a couple meetings ago.
Right.
I make a motion to sign the line of credit for the Missisquoi River
I
Water
second
Line
it.
project.
I second.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this situation? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay.
You've got the documents over there. I will add, People's Trust interest rate came in at 2.5%, which is about half of the other banks I requested.
Wow.
Perfect.
Wow.
Okay.
Motion carried. And we're off into the next one here. Number 15, approve the Village of Swanton to close bank account at M&T Bank.
So we currently have 3 bank accounts at M&T, our main checking account, a small checking account that we use for our flexible spending that the employees have, some employees have. And then we have a money market account that is we call it our bond account. Monthly, we transfer money from our checking account into that account so that when the bond payments come due in the spring and the fall, the money's sitting there because we put money away every month and we can just transfer the money out of there to make those payments. You guys approved us moving our accounts to People's Trust a couple meetings back. But at that point, I didn't ask for the approval to close those accounts. The money market account will be able to move over to People's pretty quickly. The FSA account, once all the funds have been expended by the employees that use our flex spending, I'll close that account. The checking will probably stay open for a while because we have companies, some of our larger customers actually deposit directly in for their utility payments. And then the grants, our state of Vermont grants that we get, they transfer money in directly along with Velco, transfers in quarterly for their dividends. And then the SRF, like we've got the sewer project, the water project, those SRF reimbursements go directly into our bank account. So there's a lot of, it's gonna take some time to get all of that switched over. So for a while, we're gonna end up with 2 main checking accounts operating. But once we've got everything switched over, we will close the M&T account. but we need approval in order to do that.
So not close them all yet.
Right, but I just want approval on the books for, to close them when it's ready to close.
I'll move that we approve the Village of Swanton to close the specific bank accounts that Lynn mentioned at M&T Bank, effective as soon as she can.
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried unanimously. To close M&T Bank accounts as Lynn decides necessary. Number 16, Bill, village manager update.
Just got a couple things.
3 pages.
It is 3 pages, but I got a crowd, so I'm really gonna savor this and take my time. So you've heard me say that our license to operate the Highgate Hydroelectric Dam expired at the end of last month, and it did. So FERC, Federal Emergency Regulatory Commission, issued the first annual year-to-year license to operate under the previous conditions. So that is exactly how we will continue to operate as long as we continue to be good stewards and through our FERC attorney do all of the studies that are required by the state of Vermont for a 401 water quality permit and then a FERC relicensing process. We can operate and it will be renewed automatically until further notice and without order of opinion from FERC. So that is very good news to have the official notice here. It does cost a tremendous amount of money to keep doing these studies, but I promise you it would cost a tremendous amount of money to all of our ratepayers if we were ever forced to shut that down. So,
And the cause of the delay,
the cause of delay for licensing, so the state of Vermont actually goes first. It's called a 401 Water Quality Certification Permit. That is a process that is undertaken by Agency of Natural Resources. Let's just call it owners. If you're picking up what I'm laying down, it's difficult, if not nearly impossible, to receive that without certain concessions, such as removing the lower Swanton Dam, such as having the inability to pond and draw down. It would cost us, we're trying to put a number on it, what it would cost us a tremendous amount of money. It is much more cost effective for us to continue the legal fight and prevail both with ANR and FERC in the long run, for sure. So that's what we are doing.
and again, that's just for public knowledge. It's nothing we've done everything. We've had comments from FERC in the past that, they've just rubber stamped this thing. They've seen everything, they get everything every month, I think it is. They know exactly how we do it, we're good stewards. There's really no reason for this thing not to have a new license for the next 30 to 50 years, with the exception of one department.
And the fish.
And we have partnering agencies. Enosburg has small hydroelectric facilities. Morrisville has Next Level Up. We're the largest muni-owned hydroelectric in the state as part of EPSA. So Morrisville's been running on their continuing license for 8 years. I think Enosburg is about to go in year 3. So it's not, this is nothing new for FERC or ANR. There's nothing wrong with it. We're not in violation. We're actually, FERC says we're in very good standing. So that's where we're proceeding. That hydro tour, by the way, anyone wants a tour of that, let us know. We do tours all the time. That is just mind blown. Ronnie worked up there, Ronnie Gino, for 23 years. So as one of our operators, and that gentleman right there could produce power. So that's what we pride ourselves on. Speaking of hydro, we're gonna be promoting Stephen Boyer to the lead operator position. This is a position that we had in the past that we have not had since we had an unfortunate loss and Dan Chevalier was in the lead operator position. We are fully staffed up there. Everybody is trained and certified. It's been a long time. The lead operator is not a supervisor, just somebody that helps out with the day-to-day tasks to take a little bit off the plate of Dan Chevalier. Next thing is a VEPSA handout. So we have these quarterly reports. You hear me talk about them. This is to the trustees all the time, but take one down, pass it around. This will be posted on our website for people to really see, but this is kind of a kudos to our front office folks, our customer service professionals, our billing service professionals, and the entire electric department. It's the service quality compensation for customers for the quarter, and we literally are at like 100%.
Is it
For
this that I
billing.
accepted last meeting?
This is the annual, for
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah, so just, like a snapshot, 0% of bills not rendered within 7 days of the billing cycle. 0 out of almost 12,000 invoices. So Diane, you're one of them, so kudos. We've got a great team, and this is just another example of that. Really quickly, Missisquoi River crossing. So that will start in June. The staging area is being mapped out. So if you go down Foundry Street, that we're gonna, right from where the boat access is, we're gonna take back an acre of the corn that the farm, the Longway Farm does for 1 year. So we've made those arrangements. They're not gonna plant it this year. GW Tetro has the contract. The boring happens first, and the staging should start the first week of June. So that's a project long in the making, and the bid is just under 2.2 million. Apparently I owe Gordon coffee, but I don't, because with the magic of financing and 0% interest, we are still under budget of 1.2 million despite it costing 2.2, and I can do the math for you anytime you like.
Get out of any bet.
I owe you coffee, that's fine. Any questions on the river crossing? So you're gonna hear a whole bunch of projects here that I'm running through. It's gonna be a very busy summer for us, but that's the norm. The next thing is, apparently in the past, and some of you may have seen this, the Northern Forest Canoe Trail folks tell us in the past there was a designated camping area for paddlers just below where the tennis courts are now. So myself and Dean Ryan and hopefully a trustee or two will join me
I would
on,
be totally interested in that.
then trustee Kelleher is in, May 22nd at 10 a.m. They're gonna revisit it, and I think it is a good opportunity, so Nicole, I'm glad you're in the room if you want to join us, because there's obviously a direct tie in there. We wanna continue to enhance everything about Marble Mill to include violating our no overnight camping for this specific purpose. If somebody is paddling that trail, we'll look for a cleaner, more desirable designated area with proper signage, make sure we're covered with any policies internally. And again, I just think it's a good partnership with them. So they'll be here in the house on the 22nd.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you need a calendar invite, or you're good? Okay. Paper calendar updated. This is awareness only. I'm hoping that Mr. Gordon Winters is aware of this, because he better be. There is a fire department training, so this is really just, and we'll put something on our Facebook page. It is not sponsored by us. This is a school sponsored by the North Country International Fire, and it is on the hill behind Ace Hardware for Sunday, June 2nd. It is a low-angle rescue course, where I think we have 3 members of our department attending. They will not interfere with business. I am told they will be trucked in so that there's no parking there. There's gonna be no disruption of downtown or Marble Mill. Firefighters will be trucked in with little vans, whatever they have, and then they'll do their training, and they'll pick up and they'll depart. But pretty cool training right in our backyard that's kind of New York, Vermont based. Stormwater. So we had more than 10 people attend the pre-bid meeting for the 3-acre stormwater rule for this property, 121st Street. They kind of all did this, and nobody submitted a bid. because they all thought that they would be outbid. So there were so many of them that they scared each other away. So we extended the bid until tomorrow morning. It's an in-person opening in this room at 9 o'clock. So fingers crossed that we'll have some bidders this time for real that will show up and take a shot at it. Now it'll probably be all 11 or 12 how we're ready to work.
So what is that stormwater, is that gonna control water outside of here, or? My problem is, of course, I have quotas down there,
Yes.
and under massive storms, or not even massive storms anymore, there's time, that house, we're underwater.
Yes.
Like running right around my building,
Pine Street, that way.
Pine Street,
Right.
I mean, at least 3 to 5 times a year, I'm putting pumps in my,
Yeah.
on my blacktop to pump around my building, so. I was hoping we could talk about that a little bit, but.
Well, we
until
can,
that-
so it's another topic, happy to have the discussion with you. It is our goal and every community's goal to literally inventory everything. The main goal for stormwater is to have it unattached to your stormwater, or your wastewater, right? It should be separate, and we know that's not completely true, because all you have to do is measure the amount of inflow in our wastewater system after heavy rain. So we are in the process of evaluating our entire system, which is over 10 miles of wastewater pipes and almost 15 miles of water pipes, and our stormwater system as well. So the 3-acre rule for this, any property in Vermont that is a standalone that has 3 acres of impervious surface must meet new stormwater requirements. Must apply for and be in the system from October of last year. You have 5 years to fix your deficiencies. We'll do here right away. Jones Court's one of the next things up, actually, so I'll talk about that at the same time. We pick that up on an orphan permit, so the village owns the 3-acre stormwater requirements for Jones Court as well. There's a public meeting in this room on Wednesday night, I believe, starting at 6:30. We'll make sure we advertise it again. And we'll work with homeowners there. We'll work with anybody to identify ways to improve our stormwater system, but I'm pretty sure what we're trying to do here is just make sure that we're meeting the new state requirements. So there's additional retention ponds, there's different mitigation, there's different rules for how we have to put gutters up, for example, that we don't have now on the outside of the building, but you're not alone in the community in terms of when we get heavy rain and the impact.
Those houses in my shop, all that were underwater.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
look,
they used to be, so I don't know
Right.
what's changed, but it's to the point, like, everybody comes up to me, cause I'm the last one, to
Right.
follow it back to the village, I don't know, what do you want me to do,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah, worth a discussion for sure.
Cool.
I'd love to have that discussion.
Please, anytime, come see me.
All right, fair enough.
Somewhere, okay. Not always there, but.
Any other questions on stormwater here, or anybody here from Jones Court, by the way? No?
Yeah.
You're attached to that problem, so.
Not from Jones Court, the property I
Adjacent.
own is attached to it, which
Yeah.
will be another argument.
Yes. So we're, again, I assume we'll fill this room for the first of many conversation on Jones Court. So I look forward to that dialogue as well. There's a dry hydrant request. So this is for the trustees. The first steps in this process was for the fire department earlier this week to go to the Swanton Select Board and present. And they're here, they can confirm this, but they approved the concept. So the concept is to put a dry hydrant on the Lee and Babby access right near the bridge, John's Bridge. So that allows us to at least come to you to get approval. I don't know so much an action item, but it can be, probably should be, an action item allowing us to pursue grant funding to install a dry hydrant at that location. The town's obligation was, because one of the grant requirements was to ensure that that is always accessible to include during the winter for plowing. And just confirmation, Mr. Chair, that that's been approved.
We approved
Yeah.
it, we just said it may not be as quick as we do the roads.
Sure.
We get the roads done,
Yeah.
get safe travel on the roads,
Right.
it may be later that day or the next day, but yeah, we can take care of that.
So it's really just forward thinking on behalf of the police department. This is all Chief Dan Chevalier. It really doesn't force you to have to cross the bridge, and it helps afford protection to that part of the town.
And we were also asked to help install, which we
Yes.
said we would do.
Yes, so the total cost implication should be zero if we're allowed to, when we are, include our public works and their public works, their highway, in-kind contribution.
Nice.
Perfect. I so move.
I'll second. Leave that either way.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion on the situation? What it is, or everybody understand what it is?
Water for fires.
Okay,
Hearing
A
none.
giant
All in favor,
straw.
say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Unanimously covered. All right.
okay, this next one's super easy, it's just an update, we said we were gonna do it, it is done, Swanton Rec parking, so Blake Street side, you notice, Nicole, that we moved the one sign up, put it on a breakaway post, and then put one on the other side near Blake Street Commons Apartments, so that if you're turning around, you can see that. The ordinance is in process, not quite yet enforceable.
It'll take effect June 11th?
Yep.
June 11th.
So, but same thing, if you see it and it's a nuisance and they don't move for you, that's just call the police and we'll respond. And whether it's an action item or not, theoretically, we can ask that car to move. If it doesn't, we can tow it because it is impossible to get off the actual street.
Signs help, believe it or not,
Good,
so.
so you're seeing a difference? Okay, good. All right, folks, just 5 more pages, stand by.
I know. Sometimes they don't.
All right. We have a bridge that we have to repair. It's called the B6 bridge in state nomenclature, and you all know it well, the Depot Street Vietnam Veterans Memorial Bridge. Here's the good news. We were notified today. We received another $175,000 grant. So we will come very close to meeting the cost. The lone bidder was Dirt Tech out of Chittenden County, $451,000 and change. In negotiation, they reduced their price over $110,000. It's a big if we assumed full responsibility for signage, detours, message boards. So good news for us, good news for you as taxpayers, pretty bad news for Dean Ryan and his crew. It really is. It really is. So he's not loving it, but he is embracing it. So we had $200,000 originally, this $175 minus the McFarland Johnson contract for putting out the RFP. We're gonna be very close now in grant funding. We're applying for and believe we will get an additional $10,000 for this grant for temporary lighting, which we will utilize for that project, but here's the good news, doesn't matter. You get the trailers, $10,000 worth, probably 2 mobile lighting trailers, and you keep them. No strings attached.
Nice.
That's a pretty good deal for all of our water breaks that happen in the middle of nowhere, always at 2 o'clock in the morning, where we can actually light up from different angles. So,
How long are they figuring the bridge being shut down for?
so the bridge is gonna be shut down for 20 days
I'll second 20.
between July 8th and August 18th or 16th, one of those, don't quote me on that. We believe they are gonna start right on time, and the detour is gonna be pretty well set up. It's been signed off on by everybody that I can think of, but.
My question is, my thing is I live on South River,
Mhm.
and we have some blind driveways.
Yep.
And my kids clog my driveway. And the truck traffic that travels on that road now are people that have done it for years.
Right.
But we're gonna have people from out of state barrel and ass down that little road. I don't know if it's your problem or the town problem, but we're gonna have to figure out something.
It's a collaborative problem. Our police department will be, I promise you, engaged in that effort to slow people
Promise.
down. It can't be it's not gonna be 24/7, but it's certainly gonna be during those high peak times. When we're utilizing Agency of Transportation's traffic center, we are notifying all major trucking companies. They're gonna wanna detour as much as possible.
It might sound stupid, but is there a way to temporarily drop the speed limit on that road during this detour so then big trucks have to slow down?
You can do as an advisory, I think. There's gonna be so much signage. I wish I had that finalized. And I think that just the pace of traffic is going to necessitate a
Like I
slowdown.
said, we have some blind driveways on that.
Yeah. Yep. Where on the street do you live?
I was right across from Roger and Sue.
Okay. Yep.
And
I might
get around
know
the
them.
corner, and then there's that little trailer down in the dip.
Okay.
Bill?
Oh.
It's probably too late, but there's no way to be able, you know where we have the crosswalk right by the train depot, going to the rail trail. We get a lot of people parking and crossing there a lot on that part. I don't know if there's a way we can, there's no flashing time to put the flashing red ones in there, but anything to help with our people crossing that crosswalk?
Possibly.
Yeah, for us that live on that road, that.
It might slow them down.
Fire going down there and leave lights on.
Like I said, I'm just worried about out-of-state trucks,
Oh, Jason, you're just speeding.
you think somebody from out of state, you don't know that road, they're looking down through that road.
Working on it.
Yeah, that road, I see it.
They're gonna do something.
Slow things down.
Yeah.
What is the speed limit on those roads?
After a while, it just depends on-
It should be like,
It's 40 where you, 40 or 30 or whatever. that
Is the speed limit 40 where you are? Is it up to 40?
40.
It's 30 from the bridge until you get past the train station,
Yeah,
probably about 300 or 400 yards, then it goes to 40. But they're going 50 and 30 right now, they've been doing that for years. So I don't think a little bit of police activity, I don't think it's gonna do it, maybe the increased traffic. But people are going 50 and that 30 right now, every day, every single day.
It's even worse now, county roads now.
Yep.
Fair enough. We will see what we can do. And we get the pain, we understand. It would have cost probably $150,000 more to do the same project if we did one lane, and it would have extended much further.
Like I said, I'm just worried about the out-of-state trucks.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Crooked road.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned about what the traffic's gonna be. Saturday was picking up some stuff at the DFW and just trying to get back out onto the street.
Right.
The amount of traffic, and all I can think of is that stuff is headed down South River.
yeah,
It's gonna take a coordinated effort
in county.
and maybe some extra hours of police down there to slow that down.
Yeah.
I really feel sorry for the residents who are gonna have to bear the brunt
yeah,
of that work.
it's a tough
Yeah,
one.
agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Even
Can't wait till
going
it's
South
over.
River, that would be crazy.
Can't wait until it's over, and you'll see there's a common concerns meeting coming up here in this building for the 2029 phase of that, which is complete bridge replacement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where are they just gonna kinda go around like they do usually, kinda, or?
Oh,
No, they're gonna shut it down. It's gonna-
yeah, it's it really depends. I mean, I'm as interested obviously as anyone else for those meetings and what they're gonna do and what they got planned. And 2029 might be an aggressive timeline. We see delays. That might be 2030, 2031. You know, who knows how long that's gonna take. I think it depends what happens
What do you
throughout the state.
Don't wanna call it now?
Yeah, my return.
Yeah.
Are we ready to move on off the bridge?
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
almost done, I promise. Wastewater. So the wastewater project is under full swing. Great showing by the general contractors and subs in the pre-bid walkthrough. The bid opening has been extended based on so many questions back and forth. It will be an online bid opening May 22nd. So we're hopeful. This is public information, so I'm sharing it. We will be providing the water and taking care of the wastewater for the Highgate extension that goes from Missisquoi up to the airport, past that. Those bids came in and were very favorable, actually. They had 6 people bid that project, and 3 of them were at or slightly under the budgeted amount. So it's fingers crossed for our project as well, for sure. Merchants Row is just, you've seen, I think we're done with the handicap signs now, so there are 3 handicap parking spots, 2 on the south part, 2 on the north, south part, 1 on the north part. We just need your help. We're hearing anecdotally after the fact, people are calling and say, hey, earlier today, we saw somebody park in that spot, no handicap sticker. We need to know whether you're a business owner and you're watching this after the fact. That's a violation that should not go unpunished, I'm sorry. Those parking spots are there for a reason. There's a high fine for a reason, and we're ready, willing, and able to enforce it. It's just we're not always down there. So if somebody sees it, we're just asking for a phone call directly, not an email for after the fact.
What about a camera that takes a picture of the car and the license plate, and then it's documented that way?
Okay, so I'm going off script, so I'm gonna be a little longer, and that's your fault. I wasn't quite ready tonight. You've heard us talk about this. Starting at Marble Mill, we are trying to increase our security and surveillance electronically for all of our parks. To include, there will be a camera in the backside of the park that will look at that very location. So it comes down to funding. We'll start with Marble Mill first. The electric department does not want to expend all of the funds for the brand new lighting they're gonna install to include the pickleball and tennis courts until we can help identify people that like to shoot their lights out. So those are very expensive to install, so we're gonna start there. But Foundry Street, all our wastewater, all of our enterprises, we're gonna enhance security to include our parks. And that includes the Village Green. So we have 4 different contractors giving us estimates right now on what that looks like. And then it's fiber, it's just real, I could talk all night, but I'm getting the eyes. Speaking of Merchants Row, so the most significant thing, and this is a handout for the trustees. We will post this on our website as well. We have approval from Ruggiano Engineering to use this as a concept. Everybody, I think, is aware that we purchased 74 Merchants Row, so the left side, the former Tessier property, to use as a parking lot. We did the survey. The survey showed that we own more land than we thought. So just making a line, including a right-of-way for a handicap ramp on that side of the building, when we have funding to do this properly, which means maximize both the width and length of that, we're gonna have what appears to be 27 usable parking spots.
Wow, very good, yeah.
So you add that to the improvements for the backside of the park, now we're talking about starting to alleviate the parking problem in our downtown core.
Absolutely.
So
Could you share that on the handout?
it's on this handout, it will be on our website. I'm not gonna say, you can, we can make copies, we can do whatever here, I just didn't make a bunch of copies. I'm almost done. The last thing that we're doing is we are, on July 18th, the village is hosting a 2-hour in-person training titled Respect in the Workplace. This is gonna be delivered by highly respected attorney and trainer Karen Stackpole, who is also working with us on updating internal policy and procedures. So we think that it's very important to have this type of training in person here, and we wanna bring something different in every year, something 2 to 4 hour range for our employees. Because as a reminder, we are now at 42 full-time employees, 9 part-time, and 28 volunteers. So we have to make sure that we're training like the professionals that they are. And that's all I have.
Good job.
Thank you.
Can I address the board as a town taxpayer?
Absolutely.
I sit around the village a lot, and I just wanna say, if you go down at night and just sit there like I do. And last Sunday I was down there, no cars at all. And what a beautiful place it is down there. Gordon's done, it's amazing. Ace Hardware and its other building, I mean, it's just amazing. If you just look around, you should be very proud of your community. And I'm a town taxpayer, and I have no land whatsoever in the village, but I was a village employee for many years. But you all should be proud of what you have here. It's sure nice to look at.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
sir.
Ronnie.
That comes from a townie.
All one.
Gordon, did you have a question?
Well, I hate to interrupt Ronnie.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, I know, right? I was just got, do you own the, I'm watching the Celtics game.
Oh,
Oh, really? Wait a minute.
Didn't I tell you,
For the
Bill?
record, while I was talking, you were watching the Celtics?
I wasn't watching the whole time, I wasn't listening.
Come on.
Do you own, or does the village own the triangle?
We do.
Or the L?
We do.
So you own behind the,
Behind Rexall.
behind
We did not know that.
Wow.
But we surveyed the property and pleasantly surprised that we own that.
So did the landowners know that own the
Buildings.
buildings?
The copy.
Did they always think they owned that? Was that? like
We
that?
are in great working partnership with Renee, and she is well aware.
Oh,
and
right,
has
this
seen
only
this.
goes.
Oh, right, correct.
To a copy.
Oh,
That's
right.
right, yes.
And she doesn't own any parking? Huh.
That's it, that's great.
It's kinda nice.
The surveillance that you were talking about, the camera
Yes.
systems, are any of them gonna be pointed towards the bridge, or have you thought about that? One thing the beautification committee has experienced is the loss of those boxes several
Yes.
times, and that's not cheap.
So if you're on the crosswalk, VFW is on this side, Marble Mill entrance, that crosswalk, that's gonna be enhanced. There's a pole on the VFW side, on the bridge side, but on the VFW side. And then there's a pole right where you pull into Marble Mill. The plan is to have cameras on both of those.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, yeah, we were 4 this year, there was 1 or 2 last year. And the problem is, the other problem now is Dean has piped water up.
I know.
And so them breaking off those boxes and throwing them could potentially damage the work Dean's done.
Yes.
We don't want that to happen
Right.
on top of losing the boxes, right? So that's why, I'm just, concerned about that. Like the other day, I happened to be pulling out of the V, and, I look and there's a whole big slew of people walking down, and the guy on the lawnmower, and I'm like, so I actually like turned myself around to make sure nobody was gonna touch anything,
Right.
So,
Yeah, and the biggest thing we'll do is we'll advertise it. We're not trying to hide anything. They're just, hopefully the deterrent is the fact that you have them. Yeah, I'm all done.
Okay. Executive session.
No, other necessary business.
Adam's got something.
Oh, other necessary business, I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that, Susie.
just a couple things. Again, just a shout out to Trustee Kelleher and Chief Chevalier and all the folks that went out and painted the graffiti up. Just, bottom of my heart, thank you for that. It's greatly appreciated and does show what this community can do when things come up like this. So, it's a very strong community. Another shout out, just Flags for Veterans. We start 9 o'clock Saturday morning on the 25th, installing. If people want to come down, help out. Mr. Clark will be there, I'm sure. So, yes, that was next.
Okay.
And then Monday, May 27th, starting at 2 is our annual Memorial Day Parade starting at Babcock School. And if anybody has anything that they would like to put into the parade, please let me know. We're, I don't know if we're gonna be light or not, but we're gonna have a parade regardless. And, we're gonna remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
To piggyback on what he just said about Memorial Day, so I facilitate, I'm the Saturday run coordinator for Wear Blue Run to Remember, which is a way that we actively remember the fallen from 9/11 to the end of the global war on terrorism. And we are meeting at the rec on Memorial Day at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we're doing a self-paced 5K run or walk, your choice, or just come for the circle of remembrance, where we call out the names of those who were killed in action on Memorial Day, and then we call out the names of the people that we hold dear in our hearts. who are also our following comrades. And then just one more thing for me is, don't forget to sign up for the Cornfest 5K. You can sign up on the Rex website. That's at the 10th of August at 12 p.m.
And just for those who know, the Memorial Day Parade, I had a lady text me the other day, she thought it was a chamber event. It's actually a Swanton community event. So this is all about Swanton and remembrance. That's all I got.
Any other?
Yep, I've got something here too. Kind of build off Ronnie's concept of supporting each other here in town. There's a lot of people here in town who've done a lot to work as a community. We've all tried to work, we don't all have all the answers, but if we work together as a team, be open-minded, be respectful, and work together as a group. I was one of the original half dozen people that started in Ron and Sandy's basement before all these different committees that were built for the Swanton Downtown Revitalization Committee, which was the first name of it, a decade ago. And I've watched a lot of work done by a lot of people on a lot of different committees. And it was all what you had interest in. You know, if you were in the Arts Council, hey, you painted the town red, they did a great job, did some really nice things in town. If you were interested in commercial development, you went down that path. But what we did was try to mutually support each other. And the statement that was made by our village president, the thriving downtown days are long past. Retail is very much gone, mostly compared to the glory days. Most buy what they need at Costco or the internet. As far as entertainment value, St. Albans is the place. We will never be able to compete with that either. The only business I need on a regular basis that operates there is the parts store. Everything else no longer exists there. I do agree with one thing, that the parts stores is a great business, multi-generational business. The Domies are great people. I go there all the time. They're great. There's another great multi-generational business in town that's doing the exact same thing. And I like to support them as well. And I'm not gonna condemn them or the Domies for what they do. If one's doing something, great. The same with, if you take Obashan, that's a great business in town, been here for a long time. Ace is here also. And there's room for both of them. There's room for all of us to work here together. But words like this are really a bunch of garbage, and they're really dividing our town. And when you take public office, which you were voted into by the village residents, you're held to a higher standard, unfortunately. And so all the shenanigans that you've done through the years, they were kind of annoying before, but now you're really making our town look like a mockery. And the comments that you're making and the attacks that you're making on individuals around town and the false information that's continuously passed, it is really getting painful for all of us residents to watch week after week on our Facebook page in town. It's a great place to pass information. I like looking at it, like seeing different things that are happening, people that are doing things in town, community events, things like that. But the continuous attacks and the fights, our village is being turned into real episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, or the Road Rules, or one of these reality TV shows that are not reality at all. And it's really embarrassing for all of us and community members. And the article that was done in the Messenger a couple weeks ago, I think was spot on. I don't think he could have written that any better. And something I've watched for the last 7 years, you've continuously attacked Gordon on everything that he did. And the reason I explained why the RIV was bought by the village earlier is because nobody really knows, right? Nobody really knows. And I'm not gonna sit there and attack unless I truly know all the ins and outs. And that's why all real estate's bought in executive session. You're not gonna know what the bargaining information is for both the buyer. The buyer has a lot of personal information that they're gonna probably pass to that board. The same with that board. There's a lot of bargaining information that somebody else could use against them if they were sitting there talking in open session. All real estate needs to be bought and sold in executive session behind closed doors. There is no reason for it to ever be public. So when things like the 4th Street project that was gonna go to Tyler Stanislaus is brought up, and he's continuously attacked, and the boards are attacked, and as if they had done something wrong in the process, that property had been sitting for sale for a decade. And multiple boards of selectmen have, at that point, tried to sell that property and it hadn't happened. Once we finally got a buyer, okay, if the town wanted to go against it, and many of those in here did, Gordon supported keeping that property. I know that Joel did, many did, I didn't. I wanted to see some money generated from that property, right? We're looking at about 110, 120,000 that was gonna be sold for, but that's 3 years ago. If you think about the tax revenue that we've lost in that period between then and now, in addition to the water sewer bills, the electric bills, the housing, another 8 units. His intent was to put 8 units across the street from the school. So you think about the tax base that would have been built, the cost of the sale, and you were saying at the time, oh, that property is worth well over 200,000, which it wasn't. Well, let's just say it was. We'd be at over 200,000 right now in the revenue that would have been brought, but instead we still have a brownfields that's sitting there. And that was for personal gain. That's your mother's backyard. We understand why you took it personal at that point and really drove home keeping that. But I like that the community got behind you in that, right? So you know, an unlikely group actually got behind you and said, no, it's a good idea to keep that. And so that's what happened is the community as a group got together and supported that. And that's the kind of community stuff that we want to see here. And you know, Tom Murphy always made a statement, it's not the words of your enemies, it's the silence of your friends that hurt the most. You've spent 7, 8 years attacking Gordon, last 3 or 4 years attacking Tyler. Basically anybody who tries to run a business here in town gets attacked. And right now it was everybody in this case. So those aren't the words that I would expect from our leadership here in our village. And I just really hope that there's a point where you can maybe kind of look internally and maybe change your ways a little bit, because we all want to work together. And I think these words have been needed to say for a long time. But it didn't really matter because when you were just kind of a private resident, it was just annoying. But now you're really affecting everybody in the community when you make those statements, especially if they're false or if they're accusations attacking people. So I'm just gonna ask that you maybe start considering using that page as a place to pass information, not to start fights, not to give personal opinions. It may be a personal opinion of yours, but it's gonna be portrayed as an opinion of the board and of other people when you're making statements on those pages. So, you know, I really hope that you can take these words to heart, and it doesn't bother me whether you like it or not. I took an oath 31 years ago to defend against everybody, foreign and domestic, right? All enemies, foreign and domestic, when I joined the Marine Corps 31 years ago. And I see these statements as a domestic enemy to our community. And I just hope that you have the ability to change some of the ways and move forward so that we can all benefit and work as a team here. Because I don't have all the answers. Joel and I have gone head to head several times. And, you know, but at the same time, we both respect what the other is doing for the community. I'm not gonna condemn him. I'm not gonna get on social media and attack him. But if I had a problem, I'm gonna go talk to him about it and go from there. But there's nothing wrong with disagreeing, as long as you're civil about it and you're not attacking people and tearing them down and trying to ruin their reputation and pull people out of their business. That's just not what our community's about. Nobody had any idea what I was about to say tonight, nobody on the board, nobody in here. I've told nobody what I was gonna say, but these are my words. Nobody's coached me, nobody's asked me to say anything, but this is the way I feel. And I just hope that you can take this internally and really maybe go do some self-reflection and move forward, because we all want to have a better community. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I didn't come to speak and I hate public speaking.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to but
It's
I
okay.
can't help myself after what Sean has shared. I'm not here to disparage anybody, but I would like to be on record to thank Susie personally for coming forward and really keeping the positive vision for our community alive. I think you did a lot of reparative work, and I really, really am appreciative of that, because as a lifetime resident of Swanton, I want to see our area thrive, and as a now business owner, I have even more of a vested interest in that. So I really appreciate those efforts that you've made to bring that vision back that we all have.
And what business do you own?
Coda's service station in Auto Parts.
I'm sorry.
Coda's Auto Parts.
Oh, okay, oh, okay, oh.
I know you don't know, yes.
Yeah, I never see.
Come on in anytime, I know you don't.
It's okay.
So,
Thanks,
Susie does, and Susie, thank you.
I do, thank you,
Thanks for all
thank you,
do.
Jess, I appreciate
You're
it.
a great neighbor, and I appreciate you signing on here.
Thanks, Mike.
I also grew up right up the road from you, but.
I would,
Live right behind us.
I also would like to say, you know, I support a lot of what Sean said. and obviously you and I have had our differences, but I would like to thank you publicly for quickly, helping out with the graffiti stuff, and I, forwarded you the lead I had received, and I appreciate you sending that on, so I do wanna thank you for that. I appreciated how quickly you got
Okay, I'm a little lost on that part of it, but
the graffiti, when I sent you the lead I got.
oh, well, you know, you don't recognize people in person sometimes, and you see their messages, and so.
I did wanna thank you for that, but I do agree with a lot of what Sean has said. And, you know, I also agree, I hope that you can do some reflection.
Sure. Well, thank you. I think I did a really good job trying to explain myself in the context. Maybe I haven't, but I've got a lot of feedback from a lot of people. It's different than yours, but you have a right to yours and they have a right to theirs. But thank you all. So, any further discussion? Nope. Okay, executive session to discuss legal matters.
Move that we find that we enter into executive session for the trustees to receive confidential legal and personal information for which the premature disclosure of it to the general public would clearly place the trustees and others at a substantial disadvantage.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night, thank you.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carried.
I know, right?
Executive discussion.
We are in executive.
I'm a